So it's just turning noon for you. It's 10 a.m. here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Nice to have you all with us. Welcome, welcome.
See, some folks are still connecting to audio and streaming in from the waiting room. So we'll give it just a sec. Maybe a good chance to go over um, what assign me something to go over while we wait for people to connect. Shannon. Shannon's the boss today.
Well, let's see here. When we have a little bit of housekeeping, which I'd like to make sure everyone goes through a little bit later about Zoom, we have to kind of make sure everyone's on the same page as far as our experience. Sometimes we've had many meetings on Zoom throughout this year, and sometimes we haven't been online as much. So we just need to make sure we know where all of our functions live and things like that. So welcome everyone. Okay, so I imagine we had some more registrants sign up for the workshop, so they might be filing in a little bit late today, which is fine. We'll go ahead and I think get started. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. So my name is Shannon Elliott, and I work for PMD Alliance. I am the manager of our In Sync network, which is the title of our support group leader network. So support group leaders from mostly across the country. We do have some international folks join us a lot. So we've been doing a lot of training on Zoom this past year, as you might imagine, hoping that a lot of support groups can continue to meet on Zoom during the crazy pandemic time. So I'm so glad that you all have joined us for this workshop, which will have a little bit of a different focus, not as much online, but about general support group leadership. And I think I mentioned that I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I have two of my colleagues with me here today, Andrea and Rachel. So if Andrea, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Andrea. I am tuning in from just outside Phoenix, Arizona. So, still morning, still coffee time for me, too. And I lead the community engagement team here at PMD Alliance. And the support group leaders, what all of you do in your communities are just, so crucial to the overall, Parkinson's and Parkinsonism world. So thank you for all you do. Excited to work more with you and get to know more about you and hopefully help you do the work that you do to support your community.
Excellent. Thanks, Andrea. How about you, Rachel? Ready?
Hi, everybody. I am Rachel. I am Community Network Manager here at PMD Alliance. I have been here for just over a year and I'm basically working with each community that we have and connecting with people throughout our greater community, connecting people to other people and resources. And I also run our support group that we have through PMD Alliance weekly for care partners and adult children. I am an adult child of a father who had Parkinsonism. So my heart's completely in it, and I am here to help you help other people. And I look forward to working with you guys.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Okay, so I'm going to just dive right in and get started. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we can go through our agenda for today, what we plan to accomplish. So Andrea, if you'd like to run through these bullets, and then we can get going.
Absolutely. So this is the plan for today. So this is a program that we used to deliver only in person. And because of COVID kind of forced us to take this online. But since then, we've, found some benefits. It's a lot easier for people to join. However, in order to translate the content from an in-person room where we're all together and we can chat over the coffee bar and get to know each other, in order to translate that to an online format, you just have to be more intentional about things. I think some of you who run, who have had online support groups during COVID or in general, know that it's just not a matter of doing the same thing with the camera on your computer. So today's agenda, big picture, is for us to get to know each other, to kind of gel as a group, and then also to ensure that our technical skills are all on the same, all on the same page. We don't want to assume that people have capabilities or understanding that they don't. So it's a twofold purpose today: to get to know each other, really get to know each other, and be intentional about building some of those connections that maybe would happen more naturally if we were in person, and at the same time get everyone across the board comfortable with Zoom, comfortable with the technology. So that's the big picture, and then these are kind of the how it's going to break down in our goals on the bullet point level.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share some collaboration agreements with you. So this slide is going to point out some of the expectations of all of us as we participate in this workshop together. And it's just how we all agree to approach our interactions with one another, just to make sure that it's respectful and as productive as possible. And as I go through these, you might think a little bit about how you might incorporate this into your group. So you might notice as we move through our workshop, it's very meta in some ways, in that we are modeling some of the things that you can then do with your groups. So always kind of have that perspective in the back of your mind as we go through these things. So collaboration agreements, what does that mean? So, because we're online and we are all in our little spaces, our own bubbles, and we might have people in our homes with us, dogs, doorbells, those sorts of things. It's just always helpful to remember to mute your mic when necessary, so we can always just stay focused on our meeting here. We ask you to please remember to listen deeply to one another, especially when we're having conversations and breakout rooms, just to really listen to one another. And then also taking that to the next level, the yes and idea. So if someone has an idea and you might have a different perspective, instead of negating that in any way, just say, yes, I hear you, and I have this other thought. So always thinking of it's that, always being positive. Moving with intention. And so it's surprising how quickly time goes on these Zoom meetings. So just to remember, if we have some time limits, to try to really keep to that so we can make sure everyone has a chance to share. And then please be patient with technology. So as you might have experienced yourselves, Zoom can have a mind of its own. So just to please be patient with things as we work through and change from screen to screen. And then please be patient with me as the facilitator as I work through these things as well. I make mistakes a lot. So just to start off with these collaboration agreements. So hopefully that makes sense for everyone. And I'm just going to stop sharing for one moment. And I just wanted to see, you can show me with a show of hands. Do you as support group leaders, do you have ground rules going into your meetings? Do you have expectations that you present to everyone? So I see Tori, she's nodding her head. Anyone else? Do you have? Yes. So thanks, Juan. Yep. Carolyn. Okay. Kelly. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's just something to think about as we move through this workshop, and then how you might want to approach your upcoming meetings. Excuse me, it's allergy season here in Santa Fe. So let's see here. I'm gonna go through a couple of housekeeping things with you just to make sure. We talked about Zoom and we want to make sure everyone knows where all the functions are. So your mute button is in your bottom left-hand corner of the menu. So that is where you're going to find that. Hopefully everyone's good with that. You can show me with a thumbs up if you're all good with mute, and then of course your stop video. That's right next to it. And so if you ever need a little privacy, if you need to take a moment, take a deep breath, walk away from your computer, please feel free to go ahead and stop your video when necessary. And I just wanted to mention as well, we don't have scheduled bathroom breaks during the orientation or the workshop next week. So just go ahead, and if you ever need to take a moment for yourself, please do so. Let's see, gallery and speaker view. Are we clear on how to see the Brady Bunch screen with everyone's faces at the same time? That's gallery view, and that's found in your top right-hand corner. You might see a button called view. You can toggle back and forth between the gallery, seeing everyone, or the speaker nice and big. Okay, is everyone good with that? Okay, the chat box. This is something that we like to utilize during our meetings. You can think about this for your groups as well. The chat is located in the bottom menu, and you click on that. It opens a white pane to the right-hand side of your screen, and then you can type in messages. Rachel just said, hello, everyone. Hopefully you're seeing that. It's just a running chat that keeps on going. And this is a nice way for those people who are a little bit more introverted, who might have something they want to say, but they don't necessarily want to unmute and say it out loud to the group, but they want to share an idea. So this is something that we like to allow you as participants to do. And then, of course, in our support groups, allow folks to utilize that function. And Rachel mentioned here too, this is a great place if something comes up in your group, a topic, or maybe a product like a certain walker that people like to use. You can quickly go to the internet, find that link, and then drop it into the chat. And then people are able to click on that and have that resource for later. So just something to keep in mind. Do we all know how to rename ourselves? So what I'd like to do for us as we get to know each other and where we're all from, if you hover your mouse over your own image, there's a little ellipsis menu in the top right-hand corner of your box. If you click on that, you'll find rename. And what I'd like you to do is have your first name or whatever you would like to be called, and then the city in which you live. So I have Shannon in Santa Fe. Randy in Baton Rouge, welcome. Orlando, Florida for Tori. If anyone is having problems, please let me know. You're welcome to unmute yourself at any time during this entire workshop. Thank you, Juan from Pensacola. We've got Kelly from Fort Worth, so she's a little bit outside of the Southeast region, but I'm so glad that you could join us, Kelly. Carolyn, are you able to find that? Do you know how to unmute yourself? There we go. Hi. Okay. So where are you calling in from, Miss Carolyn?
Alabama.
Alabama. Wonderful. I'm going to, as the host, I can also hover over Carolyn's box, find her ellipsis, and then rename her for her. So Carolyn in Alabama. There we go. Excellent. And hi, Laura. Nice to see you. You're down in Florida. I can't remember what city you're in. Can you unmute yourself for us?
Let me unmute myself.
Nice to see you.
There.
Okay. Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so good to see you.
It's great. It's a very hot day here in Florida.
Is it really? Oh,
yes.
Goodness. Such crazy weather we have.
I know.
All over the country. Snow, I think, for some parts of the country yesterday, and it's cold here in Santa Fe right now.
Yes.
Very strange. Let's see. So Kelly says, how about private messages? So I hope everyone is aware that in the chat, you're able to chat to everyone so everyone can see what you want to say, or you can pick from the list and send a private message. Does anyone have a question about how to do that? Let's see. Yeah, please feel free. Oh, there. Hi, Bill. How are you? I see that you just unmuted.
Yes, I'm fine.
Good, good. Where are you calling in from?
Savannah, Georgia.
Wonderful. I hear that's an amazing town that I've never been to. But
Come on St. Patrick's Day,
okay, is that the time to visit?
the biggest parade in the country.
Really? And for a fairly small town, right?
125,000 people live here, but 2 million come on that day.
Wow. How about maybe 2 years from now when COVID is hopefully done by then? 2 million people, that's a little scary. But I look forward to seeing your town someday. Okay, so we've mostly renamed ourselves. It's just a good thing to know about for your online groups. And I just want to mention it's helpful to have pen and paper if you'd like to doodle, if you'd like to take notes. We will be doing breakout sessions in a little while, and I'm going to ask you to take notes about your breakout room partner. Okay, so it's helpful just to have that ready if you need to do that. I am going to start sharing my screen again with you. All right, here we go. Okay, so I would like to pose the question to get us started here. Asking the question, what does it mean to be in sync? So you might have noticed that our workshop is called In Sync. So there are actually many different ways that we can be in sync. So we can be in sync with our peers. So that would be your fellow support group leaders here on the workshop with you today. You can be in sync with your group members, and they look to you for support and reliable information. We can be in sync with the larger movement disorder community. And that's where you can find resources to create connections, both nationally and internationally. We can be in sync with our loved ones who are on this journey with us of living with a movement disorder. And then last, but certainly not least, is being in sync with yourselves, right? So having that confidence and that self-assurance that you are embodying your role as a support group leader in the best way that you can with your special skills and unique talents, okay? So again, we do welcome you to our In Sync workshop, specifically for the Southeast region of the country. And we hope that you can gain some skills and some training to help grow and sustain your support group in your community. So thank you again for being here and for everything that you have done for your groups. So I am going to stop sharing, and little word of warning for everyone. I have come to the Parkinson's community myself through Dance for PD. So has everyone heard of Dance for PD? I see a couple of no's. So some of us know about it. So Dance for PD is a program that is run by a famous modern dance company in New York City. And they have, for almost 20 years now, they've been running this Dance for PD program where they train professional dancers to then go into Parkinson's communities and teach dance. So it's a special way of moving, of creating community, of staying moving, of increasing skills, non-motor skills as well, depression and, other things like that. So not to go into that too much, but I just wanted to let you know that's my background, as I was a dancer, and then I went through the Dance for PD training and started a class here in Santa Fe. So that being said, what I'd like to do now is to demonstrate how we can be not only in sync in our minds, but how can we be in sync with our bodies? Okay, so I'm going to be asking you to participate in some movement with us if you are game for that. So what I'd like you to do, no matter where you are, is to hopefully find a little bit of space. I'm just going to back my chair up a little bit from my computer. And so I have just a little bit of room to move my upper body, my arms today. And what I'd like you to do is follow me in this exercise that's called mirroring. So it's as if you're looking into a mirror and you see me, and so you're going to mimic everything that I do, okay? So I'm not gonna speak, it's only gonna be movement, and so I'd like you to pay super close attention and follow my every move, okay? I am going to spotlight myself. Hi, Ken, question?
Yeah, I was mimicking you.
Oh my goodness. You were on it already. I love it. That's excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight myself, which makes my screen bigger for everyone who's on the call. Excellent. Okay, so now you can hopefully see me a little bit better. All right, here we go. Sitting nice and tall, everyone. All right, every movement I make. Yes, good job, everybody. Nice. Okay, I'm going to remove the spotlight. And when this happens, just a note for you, if you're hosting meetings, it's going to stay on speaker view. So to get back to the gallery view, the Brady Bunch, we have to go up to the right-hand corner again and hit gallery. And so what I would love is to have a volunteer who would be willing to lead our next mirroring. Anybody game for that? I know, Juan, you have yes in your box. I'm not sure if that's meant to be there for this exercise or not, but maybe by default. Would you do that for us? Would you feel willing to lead us in a yes? Amazing. I love it. So I am going to now, as a host, I can spotlight. I think I can. Yes, I'm going to spotlight Juan. Okay, here we go, Juan. We're following you now.
Okay.
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 Thank you, Juan. Lovely. All right. So we've removed the spotlight from Juan. Thank you for that, for leading the movement for us. Let's all go back to gallery. And what I'd like to do is ask you, what was your experience doing that exercise of mirroring? How did it make you feel? Go ahead and unmute yourself if anyone has something to report as far as what you felt.
I think it was somewhat calming to me, where you aren't really using your brain at all other than, just following the movements. And so that's the only thing for you to be thinking about in that moment.
Nice. Yes, maybe we're not using our frontal cortex, it's a different part of the brain that we're using, more calming. Nice. Did anyone feel like they could connect to either me as the leader or Juan? I mean, it helps to have their faces larger, but then, you're focusing on them. Did that, I see Laura, she said it was good. Would you like to expound on that at all, Laura?
Excuse me, I didn't get that.
Oh, would you like to explain that feeling? Why was that good? Why did it feel
Because you forget that you are all hunched.
Yes, so
I just
physically your
felt
body.
so good. I felt so good, and I forget to schedule little breaks. And sometimes I work 4 hours on end, and I'm like totally numb and scrunched.
Right. And so it's a
So
reminder.
I'm gonna start setting alarms.
That's a great idea. Yes, I love that. Thank you, Laura. Randy, I see that you unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I did. We always try and start our support group meetings with a little bit of movement, and we try and end with thoughts and movement as well. Typically, I have people from one of the local PT groups. They'll do some movement with everybody, and then we do our dance for PD at the end. So,
Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad that you're able to do that. That's
yeah, no,
great.
just the fact that you get things moving. And I have to definitely agree with Laura. I have a tendency to sit and you hunch and you clench everything, and just loosening up helps a lot. So yeah, it's good.
Definitely. Good, good. Thanks for sharing that. And I know I do it myself. Like, I'm a dancer and I'm mostly pretty aware of my body, but on Zoom, I'm like, I gotta get inside this little box and, this square of the camera. And so it's just weird what happens to us when we're in front of our computers, right? So I'm going to share my screen, and I'd like to give you a little bit more, let's see, some of the reasoning behind mirroring and why, the benefits, why you might want to incorporate that into your group meetings. So it builds presence and awareness, right? You have to really be awake and here right now to be paying attention to someone and participate. And then the awareness of nonverbal cues. And you might know this in the Parkinson's community, that one of the things that happens to people is that they become masked a little bit. Sometimes their facial expressions aren't quite as expressive. So we need to look a little harder. We need to look a little deeper to see and be able to communicate. Mirroring, this exercise can enhance emotional understanding and empathy for others. We can really, like with Juan, I was able to kind of, lock in with him, and really follow him and be on his page, whatever that might be. And so that therefore increased my empathy for him. And mirroring can encourage cooperation in a group. So imagine that you're sitting in a circle, and then you might choose leaders from around the circle, and all of a sudden everyone is working together, right? Concentration, you really need to pay close attention to what's going on to mirror. Imagination, so with Juan or anyone who's leading, they're creating movement in the moment. And that is using a different part of their brain, right? And it's imaginative. And then finally, using both sides of the brain while engaging the body. So it's that creative part, it's the movement, so it's all these different parts of the brain working together. And as we know, that is helpful for our community members. Yes? Okay, so hopefully you might be able to take something like this to your group, whether it's online or in person, and give it a try. No dance experience necessary. Anyone can do movement just like this.
And I
Oh.
just wanted to add, a lot of times when we tell people about this training that we do for support group leaders, we do get the pushback, sometimes even from neurologists, like, well, what are you gonna talk? What do you need to train people? You find a room, you turn on the lights, you put out cookies, done. But it's not, it's so much more. You're creating experiences, you are holding the space for people, and we want to give you ideas, inspire you, things that we do, share things that we hear people from around the country do, and make it a multi-sensory experience. I love Shannon's background because she just thinks with her body and so naturally brings in movement. Even some of the things we've already shared about encourage people to, they can type in the chat, or they can unmute and speak, or they can take notes, or there's no one right way to lead a support group. There's no one right way to attend a support group. We want people to come as they are, use your own personal strengths, and your support group, the more the more you show your passions and your life experience and maybe what you're strong at or your proclivities, the more authentic it's going to be for the people who are there. And, that's the hook that's going to, make people want to come, make people when they come to, fully engage. So.
Thank you for that context. You're always great at that, Andrea. Appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to move to the introduction slide, Andrea. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about who we are. I don't know if our entire group here is aware of PMD Alliance and what we do.
Yeah, so PMD Alliance, we're a nonprofit organization. We're relatively young, so many people have not heard of us. We were founded, we just had our 5th birthday, and we were founded in Arizona and grew organically to have our reach spread across the country. So we are, our mission statement is to help people learn, live, and connect. Our audience is people impacted by movement disorders. And that's not just the people with the disease, but we want to serve support group leaders. We want to serve the medical network. We want to serve this entire ecosystem that Shannon put on the screen, and make sure that all the different networks are interacting and talking to each other and integrated. Because when there is that full picture systems view of the disease, the people with the actual disease at the center are so much better served. You can't do it alone. There's, whether it's care partner, your spiritual community, your medical team, which is way more than just your neurologist. It's whether it's a village or a wolf pack or a tribe. There's a lot of words that are used, and we call this system our ecosystem, and that's kind of the scope of who we serve. It's a big scope, so we're very busy. And the support groups and support group leaders are a key component. We feel that we've identified that you all are underserved. You're doing this, and I can't wait to learn more about you, but so often we hear, no, I'm not like a trained social worker, or I'm not like a retired CEO. I'm doing this because I am moved to do so, because no one else is, because my community needs me. And we want to support that and give you tools and resources and connect you to each other so you can better do that. I always say that one of my favorite parts of these workshops is that you all get to know each other, because it's very, like, what a small subset, Parkinson's disease support group leaders, and there's 14 of us here together. It's like the, left-handed, red-haired ukulele players who speak Dutch. Like, of all the people in the world, we all have that in common. And then on top of that, many of you are in the same, Southeast region. So glad that we're all here and we're all together. And, that's just really core to kind of some of what PMD Alliance is looking to do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Andrea. And I am going to share a poll with you so that just like Andrea mentioned, we can continue to get to know one another better and see where we're all coming from as we come into this workshop together. So I'm going to launch this poll, and let me know if anyone is having issues with being able to select their answers. So there are, I think, 8 questions here. So you're going to need to scroll inside of that poll window in order to see all of the different questions. But I'd really love to know a little bit more about your groups. So we would like to know how many folks you're serving right now. And some of you might be support group leaders in training. Do we have anyone like that right now? Someone who's not currently running a support group, but they're interested in starting one? Okay, so far.
So yeah, just answer the questions as best you can. And then the first one with the mailing list, yeah, that's just because we heard, you know, not everyone goes to every meeting, so that's just our way. If you don't have a mailing list, that's fine. We're just trying to know, you know, kind of, is it a small boutique, you know, it's just 10 ladies and that is just fine, or some of you, you know, are serving like thousands of people. So that first question is trying to just get a sense of your scope.
Okay, so is everyone having an okay time with selecting answers? Okay, great. Yes, so how long your groups have been around? Some of you might have been doing this for over 10 years, or some of this might be very new to you.
It's important as facilitators, if sometimes it's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years, and then Shannon and I are just like, okay, well, here's the microphone. You teach us.
Exactly. And that's what I love about these workshops, is that we have people coming in from such varying experience and backgrounds that we learn so much from one another. And because of COVID, of course, we understand that you know, normal is no longer. And so you might have shifted, you are maybe on the other side of that shift, and hope maybe some of you are back in person. The vaccines, we know, are being distributed and widely at this point, thank goodness. And hopefully we'll be able to be together again. And then we have a fun question at the end, which I'm always excited to see your answers for. Okay, I just see that 3 people of our group have answered, so.
It doesn't want to work.
It doesn't want to work. Okay, so are you scrolling within your little poll window there, Ken?
Down and answered all of the questions. When I get to the bottom there, there's a submit tab, and when I click on submit, it doesn't do anything.
Okay, you might have inadvertently skipped a question. I think I've heard that before, where if you accidentally skip over one, then it won't accept your submission. And this is really just to get at a glance look at our group to see.
Is if your group has not moved online, please indicate the reason. We have moved online, so I don't have a reason for not moving online. Do I have to answer that?
It's at NA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've tried to incorporate every possible answer. I might have missed one, but if there's an NA there, go ahead and select that, and that should
There you go.
there. Did it work, Ken?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wonderful. Yay.
You phrased the question. I'm kind of a literalist. You say, if you're online, do say something. Well, I'm meeting online.
Sure. I understand. Okay, we've got 2 more people just about there. Okay. Anyone having issues with that submission? Okay.
I had issues because the arrow kept moving all over the place I kept
Yeah.
going back to the first question. Then I'd fill it, go back down, and then I don't know where it went.
Oh, got it. I
Well, I
see.
got it
Sometimes
done, but it was tricky.
it was tricky. Yes, yeah. It's like you have to keep that little cursor engaged and moving and working, or it'll disappear on you sometimes. So I understand. All righty. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. And Andrea, if you have any kind of overview comments you'd like to make about the group
Looks like
here.
we're pretty diverse. That vacation question, I think everyone answered it almost differently. Um, but this helps us, the number 4 that I'm attending to learn more about. That is, yes, your answers are spot on, and glad no one is, here to, well, we didn't give an oddball question, so we kind of guided the answers there. But we're going to be learning all of those things. And good to know, too, a lot of you have adapted and met online. So a lot of the Zoom comments that Shannon's sharing are perhaps relevant. So, okay, well, we will stop the sharing on the poll and move to the next section.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. That just gives us a clearer sense of who we are and what we're going to accomplish together next week. So polling, I have a question in the chat here. Polling is a feature of Zoom. As a host, I have the ability to, from the back end on Zoom, I go through the website and into the account, and I have the ability to create questions. When you're doing polls on Zoom, you have to think about, like we just experienced with Ken, there's no way for you to type in your own answer. It's not like a fill in the blanks sort of situation. So you have to, it's like a multiple choice, so you have to like try to think of any possible response and have that be an option. So that's just one thing to think about. But you can incorporate these with your groups if you are interested to poll them about future activities, or what do they want to learn, what kind of speakers do they want to have come. You can use this poll, or just something for fun. You can really more of a community building sort of situation. So it's good to think about these little tools that Zoom provides for that reason. So let's see here. I am going to share my screen again as we move into our breakout room session here. So breakout room introductions, what we'd like to do is have you introduce someone else to the group. So instead of introducing yourself, you're going to get to know someone, and then you are going to introduce them to the group. So if you haven't done breakout rooms on Zoom before, it's just a really great way to break people into smaller groups or pairs, and that enables more sharing and connection. So we're going to do one-on-one today, and it's going to be an automatic selection by Zoom. And once I create the breakout rooms, Zoom will automatically send you into your little room. And then once you arrive, I'd like you to think about some specific questions to talk about with your partner. So first of all, where is your support group located, and what kind of a group is it? So what kind of a group might mean it's only women with PD, or it is care partners only, or it's a general group with everyone is invited. Okay, so many different options there. How long have you been a leader, or are you a leader in training? And then lastly, what is your primary hope, fear, or expectation regarding your role as a support group leader? Okay, so you can choose one of those 3 things, your primary hope, fear, or expectation. And the idea is that we will be hearing these things, and we want to address all of these things next week during our workshop. So I am going to copy these questions and I'm going to place them in the chat. So again, this is something that you can do with your folks if you have breakout rooms. What you want to do if you have something specific that you would like people to think about, topics or questions, you can paste them in the chat prior to going to the breakout room so that everyone has that in their chat before they go. Okay, just because as a host, I am not able to send this through chat once everyone is broken out into their breakout rooms. Does that make sense to everyone? So hopefully do you see the questions in the chat? And that's what you can refer to when you're visiting with your partner. I would like to have each of you take about 4 minutes so each of you will take 4 minutes to speak and address these questions with your partner. Please take notes, and so that you can have them when you introduce your partner to the rest of the group. I'll give you a little 30-second warning before you're going to be automatically brought back to the main group. And then once we're back in the main group, you're going to share your partner's name, where they're located, and that person's hope, fear, or expectation. And so you're going to have about 30 seconds to give that really quick intro. And so we can, again, continue to get to know one another. I'm going to stop sharing now. And I'm going to begin the breakout room process. So I don't know if you want to speak to anything here, Andrea, as I'm doing this.
Yeah, so one thing you might have noticed, a lot of support groups or just online things in general, they start with everyone going around and doing introductions. And we chose to maybe do introductions and get to know each other a little bit later in the agenda. And that was on purpose. We wanted to kind of dive in with the content because as a support group leader, maybe you've noticed this phenomenon in your group. Sometimes, sometimes when you open with introductions and everyone, telling a little bit about themselves, it's not always, sometimes it can maybe halt the momentum of your group or, drag into things. So for this, we said, well, let's start with content, but we do want to know everyone and get to know you and for us to get to know each other. So starting with content and then, doing the introduction section a little bit into it. So yes, Juan, you unmute and, chat with your partner when you're in the breakout room. And then again, once we rejoin and we are all beamed back into this Brady Bunch zone, we'll just share and you'll introduce your partner and they will introduce you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I've had a little moment to try to arrange the breakout rooms the way I'd like them. It looks like one of your rooms will have 3 people. Okay, so that's going to be Ken, Laura, and Steve. And so as you do your introductions, one person it's going to be in a circle, if that makes sense. So Ken can introduce Laura, Laura can introduce Steve, and Steve can introduce Ken. Okay, I am going to open all the rooms and have fun with your partners. And we'll see you on the other side. Okay, I'll send you a 4-minute halfway notice. Here we go.
Thanks.
Of course. Okay, gosh, it's so weird. Like Rachel, your name was not in the list at all. You're muted. Can't hear you.
Oh, because she's host, maybe?
The last time this happened, I went into a room and I had to come back into the main room, but I never left the main room this time. But I also didn't see my name.
Are you a host? Let's see.
Yeah, she's hosting.
That's why.
That's probably why.
Do you want me to make you host?
No, I think
Does that
no.
make a
It's just,
difference?
I guess I guess the main host never gets assigned. I just didn't even realize that I wasn't host. So it's just interesting. But I think
I
did it.
hopped on a minute before you, so I guess that's what made me host.
Yeah. All right, let me stop or start let's see.
Bill is.
So to follow up on that, just to put a final point on it, you are absolutely more than welcome. You have
Okay. I'm not sure what that
Sorry
was.
about
Someone
that.
else we muted. Go ahead, Randy.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so my new good friend Bill is in Savannah, Georgia, and he has essential tremor, not Parkinson's, his support group. He's been the support group leader. You know, I don't know how long, and I don't know what his expectations and his fears are, but I do know a lot about my new friend Bill. He's a great guy, and I'm sure his support group, which is all folks with essential tremor, are very lucky to have him as a leader. So, yep.
Excellent. Thanks, Randy. Okay. All right, Bill, I'm going to ask to unmute. There you go.
Randy is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He has Parkinson's disease. He, like me, has had deep brain stimulation, but I've had it twice. He's only had it once. It's helped him, and it's helped me. He's kind of concerned about the overload that is being a group leader is causing. So he's got to find a way to manage this a little bit better if he can.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, overload. We will be addressing that. I think mostly during our session 2, so Wednesday of next week. Thank you for that input, both of you. If we could please have Helena and Tori spotlighted so we can see their faces. And there we go. Who would like to start? Why don't we have Tori unmute, and then you can introduce Helena.
Hi guys, Helena is in New York and she's been running a support group for in total roughly 2.5 years, but as a co-leader. And then when one leader left after a couple years, they had a new leader and she's been with that new leader for about 6 months, but they did have a big gap in between when COVID hit and have since gone virtual. And her group is mixed, so anyone with PD or a caregiver can attend. And I know she mentioned that one of her biggest fears is actually going back in person because the online concept has been so helpful and good for her, and because she has some fear around driving herself. So she's hoping to actually start another group and keep that virtual, and she wants that new group to be just for women, which I think is awesome. And Helena actually asked me a great question, which I in turn needed to ask her, which is her connection, of course, to PD. And she is a person with Parkinson's, so I think that that's incredibly inspirational as well.
Nice. Thank you so much, Tori. Wonderful intro. Miss Helena.
Yes, Tori is from Orlando, Florida. I think she said before that it was very hot today. How can I say? She's like a guru of support groups. She has run so many support groups that I couldn't count it. She's run support groups for people with Parkinson's, for people who have people with Parkinson's, the caregivers, people with Huntington's disease. She has a list. And then I started wondering, does she do this for volunteer, or what is this? Well, she was a volunteer for a while, and then she became a worker bee. And she really is a worker bee, especially when it comes to support groups. Her fear is that she's been running some groups for a very long time, and the people who are coming are starting to get tired of telling their story over and over again. So she wants to try to figure a way of trying to put some enthusiasm and stuff into the support group. She's been doing this for 8 years, And I don't know why I put 6 months. She did something for 6 months. I don't remember what it was. Write down 6 months. So there's something there that I wanted to say. Okay, so
Okay.
that's Tori.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Wow. Okay. So what I've heard is, the interest in trying to stay both online as we move back into kind of a new normal, if you will. So even though in person might be happening, how do we still keep the Zoom online meetings going? And then perhaps some new inspiration, how to infuse that into your group meetings into the future. That sounds great. We'll address all of those things. Wonderful. Okay, perfect. Let's go to Carolyn and Juan, please. All right. Juan, you are unmuted. So why don't you go ahead and start by introducing Carolyn, please?
Yes, I had the privilege of meeting with Miss Carolyn, and it sounds like her group is amazing. Her group is in Alabama, and I'm going to apologize if I mispronounce this wrong, but it's Weguska, Alabama. Nope, I wasn't even close. I wasn't even close. But it does mean muddy waters. It's derived from Indian. So we're actually about 4 or 5 hours apart. So we're not that far from each other. Her group is a general group, both male and female, has been around since 2005. Miss Carolyn husband had Parkinson's disease, and they became very involved with the community. And it's a small knit community for her in that area, and they get along, and they're almost neighbors, and they get together quite often. They have social events. They get together for the holidays. During the summer times, they have picnics out on the deck at Miss Carolyn's house. So they're a really tight-knit community and very supportive of each other in that area. So she has a vast knowledge and experience with this support group. So very excited and very lucky to have the chat with her.
Lovely. Thank you, Juan, for that great introduction to Carolyn. Wow, your group sounds awesome. I want to come visit. Picnics on the patio. Amazing. Oh.
Well, I was thrilled to meet Juan. He is a speech pathologist, has been for 20 years. He and a neurologist got together and said, we need to do something and help the Parkinsons in our areas. So just last month was their first meeting. So that's really good. And today they had about 5 at first, and today is their meeting day, and they will have hopefully about 10. He hopes to reach out to more, since Pensacola has lots of retired people, of course, in Florida. And as we discussed, probably a number of those people have Parkinson's. So hopefully they can reach out to them. And they meet once a month. We meet twice a month. We found that once a month is too far apart. So, okay, I really enjoyed getting to meet him, because day before yesterday, I was in Pensacola. Had I known Juan then, I could have gone by and spoken to him.
Absolutely.
Great. Yes, it's so lovely to be able to have you all meet each other and network, and then yes, now in the future you'll know each other, and you can even keep in touch and as time goes forward. So thank you both. All righty, let's go to our trio, please. Let's go to Ken and Laura and Steve and see how they worked that out.
Okay.
So we have Laura, Steve, and then we just need Ken. I think Ken had to leave early, so I'm not sure if he's still here.
Oh, I think he's gone. Oh, no, there he is.
Okay, he had mentioned to me earlier that he might have to leave early. So, okay, I'm glad you're still here, Ken. Laura, since you're unmuted, who is your person to introduce?
My person is Ken
Okay.
Taylor. He's in the Villages here in Florida. And he has an email distribution list of about 200 people. That's a big distribution list. The comings and the group numbers fluctuate with the winter and with the seasons because of the snowbird phenomena. 20 or 40 in the summer, between 40 and 60 in the winter. And so, but they have been around for around 10 years. And this is an essential tremor group. So he is very interested in providing structure. He's focused on providing structure and getting more people involved in his group. Yes, and he's very nice.
Just a, side note, he's very nice as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura. Great intro for Ken.
Jackson, you're Steve, you're very nice too. Well, this was a threesome, so
it was a nice trio there. Good. Yeah. And I'm glad to see that Ken and Bill, you have that in common with the Essential Tremor group. So you'll be able to learn from one another that way. Excellent. Steve, I see you're unmuted. So you probably had Laura process of elimination.
Actually not. We never got to me. So
oh no.
I'm gonna have to self-intro.
Got it. Okay.
Our other two are so interesting. We just ran out of time. Remember, there's 3 of us.
That I know. I didn't add the extra 4 minutes for the trio. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Okay, it's not a problem. If you want me to do myself, I can real quickly. I'm actually not our support group leader. If you see Miss Carolyn Goza, she is our fearless and angelic support group leader, but she's kind of pulled me along for the ride because we switched to Zoom for a little over a year ago, and no one seemed to know how to work Zoom except for me. So by default, I was the Carolyn's assistant to get us spun up with Zoom, and it's just been a real pleasure and a great success. I can't imagine if we didn't have it, not shutting down for a year. I just can't imagine. So it's been very, very nice. Our location is in a rural area of Alabama. If you know where Birmingham is, and if you know where Auburn is, we're about halfway between that. It's kind of spread out. We meet in a town called Sylacauga. Try to pronounce that one. But it really, everybody's kind of spread out. I live actually on a lake that's away from Sylacauga, but I drive back and forth, or Zoom, we didn't have to drive at all. My expectation as a potential up and coming support group leader, right now I'm just Carolyn's assistant. Whatever she needs, I do and say, yes, ma'am, and I enjoy it. But really what and I've told Carolyn this several times because she's been very nice and very thankful for me getting us into Zoom, is that I felt uncomfortable with our support group initially, only because I didn't have anything to offer the support group. I'm 3 years in my diagnosis with Parkinson's, and they helped me tremendously, perhaps more than my neurologist, in a different way. In fact, we had 2 guys that kind of took me under the wing in the beginning and said, whatever your neurologist told you, forget it. Your neurologist does not have Parkinson's. We have Parkinson's, and this is the way it really is. And they have been invaluable. So I felt uncomfortable only in that I couldn't give back. But this Zoom and virtual meetings give me a chance to give back, which is what I would have as an expectation as a support group leader, to give back to them because they have been so nice to me. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you for sharing that, Steve. How lovely. Yes, and being a co-pilot to Carolyn, I mean, the teamwork is so essential, and that, Rachel and Andrea, the 3 of us run this together, and we need each other. It's so hard to do all of it alone, and so what you're adding, that value is huge, and don't discount that at all. And your energy, just you being you, that you're already giving back. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we look forward to talking about sharing the load, the responsibilities as support group leaders, so it doesn't fall on one person, and how to make that work. So great. Thank you, Steve, for sharing. Okay, Mr. Ken.
Yes, I am so impressed by Laura that it's just amazing, and I think Steve shares that being impressed. She has done a fantastic job. She has a whole bunch of things that she has done in terms of introducing people to Parkinson's. She has workbooks. She has cards with all of the symptoms of Parkinson's. She has just an amazing kind of collection. She offered to share what she's done with us, and I hope that I'm not blowing the thing by telling everybody about it, but it's just a terribly impressive thing. She's been doing this for 5 years, and she obviously is a very dedicated person to have done all of this within the 5-year period. I am just super impressed. She is in, let's see, where does she live? She's in Newport Richey, Florida, over on the west coast of Florida, right?
Thank you.
Close to Tampa. And so one of the things that has been talked about is this need for support, okay? And having a co-leader. I just want to mention that I messed up, and I should have got both of us involved, because my wife is my co-leader, right? And she does an awful lot. I think that in many cases, I'm sure that people in the group don't know which of us is the leader, other than that my name is on the, my name is what gets in the newspaper and that kind of stuff. But she does, I think, probably as much for this group as I do. And so in the future, I'm going to bring her along.
That would be great, Ken. So the two of you can just be side by side, or she can be in another room on a different device. Absolutely. Yes, Steve.
Ken did a great job, but you got to mention her book, Ken. Laura is an author of a Parkinson's book, ladies and gentlemen, an illustrated guide to Parkinson's. And I requested one, and she said she was going to give it to me. No way. You need to charge for that, Laura.
Thank you.
Show them the book, Laura. Show them the book.
Yeah, let's see it.
God.
Laura is she's a wonderful
caregivers.
Yes.
Check it out.
This is for caregivers, and it's like a feel-good book. And
have you done all the illustrations there, Laura? You've drawn everything. Mm-hmm.
And this is my game for Parkinson's. See, it fell. You have Parkinson's. This is a symptoms box. It has all kinds of goodies. It's a card game, so that people can play and talk about the symptoms without it being like terrible.
Wow,
it is fun.
So now you know why Ken says she's impressive.
The thing is, I was on agonists, and they make you OCD like crazy. I mean, I woke up I was nonstop. So
with your art and your writing there, Laura, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I see.
Fortunately, I did not take to gambling or
excessive shopping or something like that. So that's good. You've actually helped your community. So thank you so much. And we do know Laura, she serves as an ambassador for us at PMD Alliance. So we're well aware of her talents and her loveliness. So, and I've had the chance to meet Laura in person. So it's so good to have you. Thank you for joining us. We have one more group, a little duo of Kelly, and it's either Mia or Maya. So you'll have to tell us how to pronounce that.
Mia.
Mia, wonderful. Okay, Miss Mia, and then I'm sure we're finding Kelly. There she is. Since Mia, go ahead and stay unmuted, and then you can start by introducing Kelly, please.
Sure. Well, everyone, this is Miss Kelly. She's from can you see me pointing her? She's from Fort Worth, Texas. And I apologize, Miss Kelly. I did not catch how long you've been running your support group, but she does run a caregiver support group specifically for women who and their husbands are the persons with Parkinson's. So their goal is to provide better care for patients with Parkinson's, and that's through education. We talked a little bit about how like the medical community, places a very big value, of course, on clinical medical research, but there should be an equal emphasis on caregiving and support, because that is obviously maybe an even bigger component to dealing with Parkinson's in the day-to-day. And one of her goals is for her organization to become a nonprofit. And she's dealing with lots of folks out there. I think you said over 1,000, right, Miss Kelly? So that is just incredible to me.
Wow, fantastic. And yes, we do know Kelly quite well. She's also serving as an ambassador and helps us a lot with our programs behind the scenes. So thank you for that intro, Mia. And lovely to have you join us, even though the Southeast is moving a little bit toward the South with you joining us from Texas, but we're so glad to have you and your energy. So if you'd like to go ahead and introduce Mia, you can unmute yourself. Kelly?
First of all, I just want to say we are blessed to have Mia here with us, and we're blessed to have her in the Parkinson's community. She's very impressive. Her background is in social work. She has been blessed to travel and study abroad. She was able to spend a year in Athens, Greece, with some studies and research there. And I think this is huge for her to have this opportunity to bring in with her. Currently, she is from Orlando area, and that's where she's at. And she's working there with a hospital group, a corporation called Advent Health. And she's new to what she's doing, and I'm so excited for her. She is going to be working with the Parkinson's community there, with the people with Parkinson's and their caregivers. And she has been a facilitator of a lot of different types of groups. But this is where she's going to be moving into. And I feel like the people are really, really fortunate to have her there. She's got, even through the Zooming, you can feel her warmth and love and compassion. So I just want to say thank you for being here and now being a part of my life.
Yay. Thank you so much, Kelly. Wonderful intro for Mia. And if everyone wants to go back to the gallery view from speaker, we can all see each other. So wow, what a great group we have. This is exciting. I think we're gonna have a lot to share and learn from one another. So thanks again for joining us. I'm gonna share my screen one last time. We just have about 5 more minutes to address a little bit about what to expect for next week. Okay. Okay, so 3 days, 2.5 hours each day. It's a lot, but we will have a lot of great info to share. We'll continue our breakout sessions to learn from one another. These are our 3 topics: support groups 101, the fundamentals. We'll talk about infrastructure and succession planning, how to share the load, co-leadership, that sort of thing. And then the final day will be about how to keep up your energy as a leader. So making sure that you're caring for yourself so then you can therefore care for others. All right. And finally, we have just some things to make sure that you're aware. You should have all received a preparatory email. I believe I sent that on Monday. And so there are materials to print. We have a full like 50-page resource or reference guide for you that we'll be sending you in the mail, hard copy after the workshop, but we're going to have you print some of these pages ahead of time so that they can act as a workbook. So you can start to write your notes and make sure that you keep up with what you learn on those printed materials. We have a pre-workshop survey. If you already haven't done that, please go ahead, click that link that's in your email and fill that out so we understand where we're starting from. And then the InSync support group leader agreement. And so that is something we hope that you'll read through, and then you'll electronically sign that by checking the box electronically at the bottom of that little document. And then again, just having paper and pen available will be helpful. So you can keep your notes and doodle if you wish. And so, yes, I believe that's all we needed to say. Andrea, is there anything that I've missed?
Nope. We look forward to seeing you here. It's going to be the same Zoom link if you want to bookmark it, and it'll be in the email. I'll mention that in addition to the electronic resources that you've been emailed, after our sessions are over, you'll receive a goodie bag in the mail that will have some of the hard copy versions of some of what we're going to be going over. But we wanted to, we're going to be referencing it. So that's why we sent you the electronic version ahead of time so you can print it and make notes or reference. We'll have it on the screen, but sometimes the type is very small. So it's nice to have it printed out. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully we achieved our outcomes. We all got, familiar with Zoom. So now we're comfortable chatting and doing thumbs up and renaming ourselves, and look forward to getting to know each other more and diving into the material at the sessions next week.